In a forgotten town near Memphis, a teenager loses his way. His band is gone, his future uncertain, and the girl he loves is about to leave. But one audition could change everything, because opportunities don't fly toward you, they fly past you. You have to catch them and hold on. Don't let get to you, Ben, you're not alone. It's a deeply moving coming-of-age novel about music, heartbreak, and finding the courage to chase your dreams. It's available on Amazon as ebook and paperback. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I present you an English translation of my very first book I published back in 2013, and it's called Don't Let Get to You, Ben, You Are Not Alone. The story is about Ben. He's a 17-year-old teenager. He lives in Sleepy Water. It's a fictional town anywhere near Memphis in the United States of America. So this book presentation will be a bit different. I have a script in my hand because English is not my mother tongue. This means it sounds a bit weird to you when I talk. So yes, that I don't forget these words, I have also a script. So what is the book about? The message and the themes. It's about lost dreams, and it's about disillusionment. So Ben had a dream. He wanted to become a famous musician. He was once a frontman of a local band, and this was everything for him. Then his friends changed their minds. They had other interests suddenly, and the band fall apart. This is a real problem for him. He hides in his room after school. At school, when he goes to school, his grades go down. So he's not very interested in school anymore. And it's all about, also about depression, if you like. So he is just laying on the bed in his room, and he turned to the window to see what is Susie doing. Susie is the girl next door. He is secretly in love with her. And in the story we find out that this girl is the last light on the horizon for him. So there is this loneliness. He feels lonely. He feels misunderstood. It's so his mother is a single parent. She's working hard, and she is actually overworked, overwhelmed also with his family life. She has 3 kids, and she's alone with them, and yes, it's all too much for her. And she wants that Ben goes to college. He is not dumb, he is smart actually, and when he could motivate himself a bit more, he could raise his grades in school, and yes, try to get a scholarship for college. But he doesn't want. He wants actually either he's doing nothing or he has a band. So, but there's no band, new band coming to his door, knocking on his door and saying, hey, let's have a new band. So, and his elder brother understands him a bit. He was once also a band member. He was playing drums, I think. No, I think it's a bit stupid because I'm the writer. So yes, he was playing drums, and he says he understands. Ben once he also wanted to become famous, and music was everything for him. But then the priorities changed, and it was like, so we have to go. We have to earn money, that we can live on something, that we can pay our bills. For paying bills we need a job, and for getting a job graduation is perhaps necessary. So some went back to school, some were looking for a job, and his band also fell apart. So when there's a youngest sister, Sam, she is 12 years old, and she is full of humor from outside to the outside, because inside she feels the same like everybody in this family. So there are 5 together, but everybody is so inside lonely. And but she is a little motivator for Ben. Don't Let It Get to You comes later from his brother, and he hears this message first time from his brother when he decided to go to an audition. But this Sam, this little sister Samantha, brings this message without saying these words, with her behavior, with what she's doing. So she is a motivator, like don't take the day so hard to you, time too hard to you. So when there's a depth, there will be a high anytime again. And she is also the character with humor in this story. And I don't want to say too much. It's the first volume. There's a second volume when it comes to Ben's story. But later the reader sees or understands how much this little sister helps him. Yes, so there's a family struggles. They are poor actually. They it can be that they have that they lose their house from one day to the next day and are homeless. And so and that's why also the elderly brother, the older brother and the mother say, you better go back to school, try to get a scholarship and go to college. And then there's Susie, the girl next door. He is secretly in love with him, and one day she motivates him to go to an audition. There's an audition in Memphis. It's a start for a music show, a television music show that is called Entertain Us. And this changed everything. So actually Ben doesn't want to go to such an audition. He thinks it is stupid. Only idiots can go there. But it's Susie who also talks about her. She also has problems, but the same problems like Ben has, but she has experiences with violence in her family. It's her father and her mother and she. They both decide that it's better for Susie to go to New York. They are her mother's sister, Lish, together with her husband, and the financial situation is not so much better. And he's also a lawyer, and she and her mother sees a kind of protection for her. And Susie will leave Sleepy Water in a few days, and also before the audition in Memphis comes. And this is also on one side a problem for Ben, that he loses Susie, but on the other side it's also kind of motivator. Okay, for her a new life, or it seems to be a new life starts. He also want to have this, he want to take this chance just to try, go there to Memphis and sing a few songs or just one, and see what will happen. And it happens that he is lucky and that he has anyhow that certain something that is also discussed in this book, that you have to become famous and to be interesting for the society, for the public and so. And he is so he comes from Memphis audition. It's a big problem for the family that he has been there, but and it changes. So his brother is the first who understands and take Ben to his friends, to a club, and to former band members, and they discuss, well, when it doesn't work with this music show, entertainers, we could try this again with our band and let be Ben the frontman, the singer in this band. And so this is a bit also on the one side too much for Ben. He doesn't want that someone else, his brother or not, decides for him. On the other hand, he is a bit, or he feels a bit secured. Okay, when it doesn't work with his band, he actually also don't like to attend this show. To attend the show, he still thinks that it's a bit stupid. Who knows how these other intenders will be, and yes, the rules in the show and what they have to do in the show. But yes, there's this security, we call it like this, and there's also Susie, who left Sleepy Water and is by then living in New York. And the blind audition, this is the second step in this process, in this music show, will be in New York. Second motivator to go to New York. And then the day when Ben leaves Sleepy Water, because he got the invitation to come to New York, there is his brother, Charlie by the way, who wanted to give him to the train station. And this part, page I want to read to you, it also says a bit of the relationship to his older brother Charlie. So Mom was sobbing. I stood up and hugged her. I hugged Sam too and promised to call as soon as I had time. Then I followed my brother to his car. We drove off. Sam ran after me and stayed on the road until we turned off towards the station. Mom had stayed in the kitchen. Maybe she was standing at the front door, clutching the door frame and looking at the road. In any case, she was crying, I was sure of it. On the way to the train station, we were silent again. I remembered the ride to the club after Mr. Hudson had beaten me up. I looked at Charlie. He was chewing on his pancake. He'd probably taken one with him, so he wouldn't have to talk to me. We drove along the boulevard at high speed, and there were no people to be seen for miles around. Of course, that was nothing unusual for a Sunday morning. I wondered who all knew that I was on my way to New York. We drove past Troy's music store and his building site. He was nowhere to be seen. We parked right in front of the station building and got out. Charlie carried my travel bag. In the entrance hall, we looked at the display to see which platform the train would be leaving from, as I had already had the experience of the train leaving from somewhere completely different. Only this time it was going to be completely different. Charlie dropped the bag. By the way, I realized what was actually going on. He had already picked up the bag again and ran back to the car. The train wasn't running. And not because it was cancelled, but because it was Sunday. We had somehow forgotten that little detail. I ran after Charlie and wanted to know what we should do. He kept his cool and called out, "Get in, I will drive you to the airport in Memphis." I jumped into the passenger seat, looked at him and asked excitedly, "Are we going to make it in time? Are we going to make it in time?" "Of course, what do you think?" "Yeah, I don't know. Your car isn't the fastest yet. Maybe it's about to fall apart." "Don't be impertinent now. If you only knew," replied Charlie with a broad grin on his face. He stepped on the gas. I could feel my pulse in every hair and my nerves were pretty low. With all the thoughts about what could happen in the Dominican Republic, I hadn't thought about a problem like this. At that moment, I was no longer worried about what would happen on the island, but rather about whether I would get there at all. Charlie took a piece of chewing gum out of his jacket pocket. He worked on it until we arrived in Memphis. He hardly spoke at all. He wasn't as cool as he always pretended to be, but sometimes I still wouldn't know what I would do without him. I was glad that he looked after me. If someone asked me about my father, I could say, "I don't need one, I have my brother." So this leave is not the leave to the blind auditions in New York, but later, so the third step, the leave to the Dominican Republic. Yeah, and so a bit more information about Charlie, his older brother, who is actually his father. So when it comes to the three kids, there are three fathers, if you like. This is very seldom, of course, but it can happen, and it makes also the family a bit special. So they hold together, really. They have their problems, they have their opinions, but when it comes to do something or to help, to support someone, they do what they can do, even when they are so poor. So it was that for the blind auditions, Ben had to pay the flight from Memphis to New York and back, over Charlotte, I think. And they didn't have enough money. So what they have done is, the garage where a lot of stuff they didn't use, they just sell them, and so they got enough money for the tickets. For instance, this "You Are Not Alone", this undertitle of this volume, or the second title if you like, has two messages if you so one side, "You Are Not Alone" means so we are sitting in the same boat, we feel with you, we have the same problems, and I also would like to become famous, or I also lost my band. And on the other side it can also mean you are alone because we support you, so we help you. And both messages are mentioned in this book. There's also this overall message, "Don't let it get to you." So there are these hard times, but you will come through. You will see. So this book is about depressions, family tensions, friends, hope, future, yes, chasing dreams, and so purpose something for you. It's about reality, or it's about dreams and the rules of dreams. That is reality, but also has to go your way, and even, or at least to try that your dreams come true, that your dreams become reality. So this is the first translation There are more volumes of the series Don't Let It Get to You. The next translations will follow. I don't know when. I cannot say it. The series itself is not finished. So there is Ben. Ben meets a boy at Memphis. It's in the audition in Memphis. His name is Charlie, like his older brother. They become close friends. And there's also the story about this teenager. And then there's a third teenager, it's Jane. Jane is not mentioned in the first volume, but will play a supporting act, if you like, in the second volume already. And there is a story about Jane. Always 2 books for one teenager. That means there are 6 books together for the series. And there's another series, a young adult series, it's Anya's Diary. The first volume is also already translated into English. I'm going to present 2 verbs next time, I don't know. But if you like, you can already go to my website and there you find all information you actually need to learn what are the stories about. And there's also where you can buy an ebook, and also it's paperback. So when it comes to Don't Let It Get to You, there will be always an ebook and a paperback. Alias Diary is only available as ebook. Furthermore, I say it because it's the first time I have such a video in English now. There are already 2 videos on this channel, but in German. So I actually have to repeat everything. So upcoming stories will be, first there will be a coloring book, Butterflies on Tour. I'll put a picture of it here anyway. This will come out in June, so very soon if you like. And there is a short story in German, but might be that I also translate this one. The coloring book, when it comes to the coloring book, there is also a little story. When you know coloring books, there are mostly just this illustrations, but no text. But I'm a storyteller, so I want to have this coloring book thing a bit. I want to also extend this, that I publish more coloring books, but also with a story. And this time it's the first time that I have made illustrations and that I also wrote a story, but very simple, so it's still simple. But I actually publish or write stories about social subjects, about problems that the everyday life is confronted with. So, and it's quite different. This first coloring book, it's a fantasy, it's about butterflies. And so when it comes to the short story in German, this is goes from young adult to adult stories. So it's about everyday life in the office, so workday life, if you like, and the problems you can have. So it's a bit difficult for me to explain this, especially because it's not released. Still not released, but yes. So these 2 things are to be released in June this year. Yes. All right. So I think this was all for today. I wanted to say. So when it comes to this first book, a few words to the content. So there's Sleepy Water, starts in Sleepy Water, and the problems in the family I mentioned. Then comes the first audition and the leave of Susie, the girl Ben is secretly in love with. Then there's blind auditions in New York, and his friend Charlie comes to Sleepy Water. they want to prepare for the upcoming weeks and the time when this music show entertain us. So then comes the Dominican Republic with the first shows, the first performances, if you like, and then it goes back to New York, where the battles are the real battles. And then after the first two shows, of the battles, this book ends. And this is a cliffhanger, if you like, of course, but it was the real time, not the real time, the right moment. It was the right moment to stop this book here, because then, while Ben is in this show, the life in Sleepy Water doesn't stop. So there are these problems, unsolved problems in the family, in the neighborhood, and these problems, I don't want to say explode, but a better word. So the family is a bit overwhelmed with these problems, and Ben sees, okay, I have to go back. He gets a break in this music show, and I don't want to say too much, but this music show is the story itself in Ben's story. Because Ben's story is actually about growing up, means to break down and then to stand up, and it's about his family, his friends, his future, and this music show is not a glimpse of something beside or what's important from him, but he sees, don't let get to you, this music show is actually not such a big problem. There are worse problems in this world here in my family, so I have to do something. So I hope this was interesting and informative for you. I apologize for my pronunciation. I know this was perhaps an awful sound for you. I'm sure I also I didn't match the right words, not always. And thank you for watching. And as I said, just go to my website, there you'll find every information you need. And if you have questions, or if you would like to write a comment, just do it. And then I would say thank you, and see you next time.